The City Council meeting come to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Parker Raphael.
Here.
Dean Kirkpatrick.
Here.
Laney Balance.
I'm here.
Ken Pownall.
Here.
James DeVito.
Here.
Butch Berry.
Present.
We'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we're going to have a special presentation to one of our area Boy Scouts, Mr. Bruce Biskey and Mr. Hendrick Pott. Please come in the room, please. Hey guys, all y'all snuck in that door. Y'all come on up here. Hey guys, what's up?
Nothing much. I'm happy to be here.
I'm going to read a letter that I received in an email. It was passed on to us, and I'll read it exactly as it's written. Huh? We need something to scrunch it up. Okay. This is to Bruce, his scoutmaster. It says, "Hi, Bruce. When Martin picked Hendrick up this evening around 6:30 or so, they were driving in front of the Basin Park Hotel. An elderly woman was crossing the street on Spring Street towards the hotel with a coat over her arm, and she stepped on it and fell right on her head. She was cut and bleeding. The woman's husband was with her, but he was flustered and unable to help. There were bystanders as well, but Hendrick said they were all just standing there in distress, doing nothing. Hendrick got out of the car. He told everyone he knew first aid and took control of the situation. He directed the others, assessed the woman, helped her into the hotel, got ice and wet cloths to clean her up, and etc. He said the other people clearly did not know what to do, but quickly responded when he provided direction. He was surprised since they were all adults and he was a kid." You're not a kid. He was grateful for his Boy Scout training. The woman was conscious and lucid, but Hendrick counseled them about delayed reaction with brain trauma and recommended they go to the ER for evaluation and treatment. He provided the phone number to the hospital, gave directions if they wanted to drive, etc. I'm just so proud of him, so thankful that he is a scout and has learned how to respond in this kind of situation. Love, Mom. Peggy Pott. I want to take this time to present Hendrick with a certificate from the City of Eureka Springs for your outstanding performance.
Thank you very much.
There you go. You want to say anything? You want to say anything?
I think that pretty much covered it all.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. We're going to get on with business now. There you go. Okay. Now, next on the agenda is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Any discussion? Additions, deletions, Ms. Balance.
I'd like to postpone item number 9 under unfinished business. I
Number
just
9.
received the information and have not had a chance to peruse it.
Under new business?
Under unfinished business,
Unfinished,
number
I'm
9.
sorry. Anybody else? Okay, number 9 is postponed. Motion to approve is amended.
So moved. Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Agenda is approved. Excuse me. Y'all have to pardon me because I have a nagging cough and cannot get rid of tonight. Next on the agenda is approval of the minutes for October the 20th, 2011.
Move to approve. Second.
Made and second. Any discussion? The deletions, changes, additions to? All right. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion. Minutes are approved. Next to be Commission Committee Authority reports and vacancies. Ms. Blankenship is here for planning. Let's put her up first.
Hi, I'm Beverly Blankenship from your Planning Commission. On October the 25th, the Planning Commission voted 5-1 to send to council a proposal for the handicap parking. I believe that y'all would have received it this week. I know it's not on the agenda yet. I hope that at agenda setting portion you will add it to your next agenda. I did want to tell you that when the Planning Commission went through this, our goal was not to just increase fines. Our goal was to keep people, able-bodied people, from parking in our few handicap spots that we have. And most of the language in it came straight from state code, but there is a little leeway with the amounts of the fines and things like that. So I hope that you will add it to your agenda for the next meeting. Also, I guess we are on hold for the zoning map because the mayor could not find the money in his budget either for that appropriation. So I hope you'll just keep me in mind, and I believe our city really needs that. So I hope that that will be a priority for you for next year. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am. Do we have anybody here from CAPC that you know? Okay. Hospital committee report. I think we have some folks here. Y'all also should have a copy of the hospital audit report. Is it made available? Make sure I got mine.
This comes in fancy form.
Yes, she did. Hey.
Cemetery.
Miriam?
Are you going to do the cemetery
Yes.
report? Okay, we're not quite there yet.
Oh, Diane sent me in.
Oh, she did? Okay, well, go ahead then.
Miriam Planell, 6 March Circle. I'm here representing the Cemetery Commission. I'm not going to belabor because I know you have a big agenda tonight, but I do have our third quarter financials for you. I have a copy for each of you, including you, Mayor, and then one for the Finance Department for your records. I'm also requesting when you go through your mid-year budget, here, put these down. When you go through your mid-year, or not, I don't know if you've gotten to mid-year budget or not, but I'm kind of shooting now for 2012 since we're almost towards the end of the year. If you would keep us in mind, you're each going to be getting a financial statement and then a budget request from myself. The cemetery this past year, I know a lot of us are all hurting with the everything in the city, but the cemetery is one of those hurting as well. We have been able to do, thank you, Mayor. We've been able to do emergency maintenance pretty much only for the cemetery this past year. Actually, the last couple years, since our budget was taken away, I am requesting, please, council, that you would consider adding us back into your budget considerations for calendar year 2012. As always, our financial statement, we look great on paper, but when you get down to it, we've got about another $3,000 to pay all our bills, salaries, and whatnot for the remainder of the year. I think we're going to be able to make it. But once again, it's tight. I know everything is tight in the city here, but if you would, just please look over my budget, our budget, and the financial statement for third quarter. That's all there in front of you for you to peruse at your leisure. I want everybody to know that we are totally transparent in our financials. We're not trying to hide anything. We want to comply with what you all need from us. So if anybody has any questions regarding anything, I would be more than happy to let you know what I know. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. You say anybody's here from the hospital?
They are, but they weren't planning to come.
Okay, all right, good. I don't think we have anything from Parks. HDC, I don't think we're good on that, and cemetery is done. Ms. Balance, your yellow bag committee.
According to the agenda, I see we have an update on forming the advisory committee. And I'd also like an update on how we're coming along on coming into compliance with the contract we have with the solid waste.
I've got a meeting with Mr. Jackson next week. Let's sit down and discuss all of these items.
So how's it coming along with forming the advisory committee?
That was one of the other. That was one of the items we're going to talk about next week.
Very good. That should cover it for this time then. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right. Next to be public comments. First on the list is Dawn Halden. HALDN, Eureka Springs Tree Houses. Hi, come on up.
That's me.
Okay, come on up and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Dawn Harden with Eureka Springs Tree Houses, and I'm actually here on the tree cutting moratorium. We got a notice that you guys are considering no longer allowing anybody to cut any trees down, and I'm just here to discuss what happened in 2006 before we purchased acreage to build property. We went in front of the Planning Commission and got permission to build 20 units in 2 phases. First phase was 10 units, and the second phase was going to be another 10 units down the road. We went ahead and put all the infrastructure in for the second phase, and this passing this moratorium is, I don't think, is right, because we got approval for 2 phases. And we would have cut the trees all down at the same time, but they said, no, you should wait because maybe you change your mind. So bottom line is we put in infrastructure for 2 phases. We built 10 units out there. And, we wouldn't even have brought in the property in the first place if we could only put 10 units out there buying, 13 acres. So I don't think the moratorium, you guys need to look at. If somebody got approval, we went in front of the Planning Commission. It needs to be grandfathered in. I don't think that, changing the rules up now, later in the game, is fair to businesses. I don't know who else is in the same boat as us, but we're halfway into a project, and now I only have like 40 more trees to cut at the most, and I'm going to be told, no, I can't do that. So I'm very concerned. So I don't know if anybody has any questions, but I've got the plan that was submitted and approved way back in 2006 that shows 20 units. So I would hope that you guys would keep this in consideration when looking at doing a moratorium on no more tree cutting in the city of Eureka Springs.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Sue Glaive. Hi, Sue.
I was going to be in here this quick.
Well, there you go.
Thank you. Hi, for those of you that don't know me, I'm Sue Glaive, and I'm here tonight to speak for our veterans. Our 3rd annual Veterans Parade will step off on November the 11th, which is a Friday, and we'll step off from Upper Spring Street. Our parade starts at 10 a.m. Now, first of all, I want to tell everybody that we're not here to glorify war. We're here to honor our veterans. And everybody in your family, you have maybe a loved one, a family member, a friend that's a vet. And that's who we're going to honor. Pardon me. Now, I had to look at my notes. And why we have it on Veterans Day is because all over the United States, on the 11th month, the 11th day, the 11th hour, and the 11th minute, we do a 21-gun salute, the American Legion does, and it's to honor all of the fallen veterans. And we want Eureka Springs to be a part of this. So that's why we have it on Veterans Day. The American Legion Post 9 have done it for years. And that post and Jack Baker have done an amazing job helping us with the parade. Immediately following that, the CAPC has allowed us to use the gym in the basement of the auditorium, and that's where we have our meet and greet this year. We'll have entertainment. The Eureka Stompers is the band that formed last year to play for our Veterans Day meet and greet, and they'll be playing, and we'll have other things for the vets. Also, we have a new tradition this year. We have a Veterans Art Show. And this year we didn't have a lot of time to get it together, so there's not going to be a whole lot of vets there, but there'll be a lot of good art. It'll be held at Chelsea's, and the artist will set up at 10 a.m., and then it will be open to the public from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. Robert Norman is going to be in charge of this. We're going to have these flyers out all over town in the next day or two, and I'm going to leave a couple of them here for y'all tonight.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now, the main reason I'm here tonight is to invite all of y'all to come and be a part of the parade. And Mayor Pate, I would like to officially ask you to carry the POW banner
Yes,
and the
ma'am.
honor guard,
Be my honor.
and we be honored. And I know that Ken's going to be there with Mary Ann and probably one of his fur babies. And James, you got to watch because Teresa and Abby are both in the parade. You can't get out of that. So, and Butch has been kind of helping me try to find some convertibles. And, you know, we put all of our World War II vets in convertibles. We have more World War II vets than any other town of our size. And by the way, I had another one pop up this morning. I have a 88-year-old guy that was in the Army Air Corps in World War II. And so if you know somebody with a convertible, or if anybody knows of somebody with a convertible that would drive this man in the parade, I'd really, really like to hear about it. So,
We're gonna wrap it up soon.
okay. So anyway, come out for our parade, because life's really too short to miss a parade. And I thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, we don't have anybody else listed on public comments. So our next item on the agenda is unfinished business, first of which is aerial photography demonstration by me. Entertain a motion to discuss.
So moved. Second.
All right. Been in touch with Joanne Harris at the assessor's office in Carroll County. She has set up a meeting with Pictometry for the 9th, next week at 10 o'clock at the Bearwood Community Center. This will be with Pictometry, Mr. Trent Evans. So anybody that wants to go to this, see the demonstration, it'd be worth your time to go if you can get away. So we're supposed to have them come here, then do the meeting over there. We just opted for the other meeting.
What date was that?
The 9th at 10 o'clock, Bearwood Community Center. So anybody wants to go, let me know. We'll get everybody over there. Okay? It's easy for him to tell you what's going on than me trying to explain it. Okay. Excuse me. Next on the agenda is the dog control update. Recommended code changes. I'll defer to Mr. Pinell.
Move to discuss. So moved. Second.
There you go.
I'll defer to the city attorney. I'm still waiting for recommended changes back. We're still working on it.
Okay.
I'm still trying to put together what you have sent me from the committee, and I'll try to have that for you at the next meeting, or before that, so you can review it.
Okay. Thanks.
Any questions? Any other discussion on that? Okay. All right. Number 3 is still postponed. The non-conforming off-premises sign until its code is corrected. So we move on to number 4, which will be an updated alcohol beverage tax, CAPC right to collect, postponed until today. I defer to Mr. Weaver and Madam Clerk.
Where we left it a couple of times ago was that we were trying to get a hold of the ABC. Had some discussion with the ABC. I don't see anything that, from what I've been told, that prevents us or indicates that we're doing anything incorrect. I've also tried to review it as best I can from my perspective, and I know the CAPC has looked at it some on their perspective, and I don't see that there's anything improper going on.
Any questions? Discussion? Okay, if not, we'll move on to number 5, is the third reading of ordinance 2143 to codify the parks quarter-cent sales tax. This is quarter-cent tax, not sales tax. Motion to discuss.
So moved. Second.
Floor is open. Mr. DeVito?
I would like to suspend the rules and place ordinance number 2143 on its third reading by title only.
Second.
This is a roll call vote on this? Yes. Okay. Once you get ready.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Mr. Pownall?
Yes.
Ms. Balance?
Yes.
Dr. Kirkpatrick?
Yes.
Mr. Raphael?
Yes.
6-0.
6-0.
Motion to... Let's go ahead and read it again.
An ordinance confirming the adoption of the initiative ordinance. It's ordinance 2143. An ordinance confirming the adoption of the initiative ordinance approved by the electorate of the City of Eureka Springs on November 7, 2006, regarding amending ordinance number 1906 and assigning it a number.
Mr. DeVito?
Move to approve ordinance number 2143 on its third reading.
Second.
Voice vote. We got to actually read the whole thing now.
Their vote some time back was that on their final
It's adopted.
vote to make it by roll call.
Okay.
Mr. DeVito?
Yes.
Mr. Berry?
Yes.
Mr. Pownall?
Yes.
Ms. Balance?
Yes.
Dr. Kirkpatrick?
Yes.
Mr. Raphael?
Yes.
Good. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is going to be update on hospital commission and hospital lease. Mr. Pownell, Ms. Balance.
Move to discuss.
Second. Okay. The floor is open.
I didn't know if there was, you said there was somebody here from the hospital. Were they waiting to come for this, or?
We'll get somebody out there, see if somebody can do it.
They're not going to speak at this meeting, they're going to speak at the next meeting, they said, with the full commission and the auditor.
Full commission and the auditor? Okay. You want to postpone it till then, sir?
I move to postpone to the December meeting.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. All right. Next on the agenda is discussion of a resolution for a tree cut moratorium. Ms. Balance and Mr. Raphael.
Move to discuss.
Second.
Discussion's open. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I brought forth this resolution so we could discuss it. My interest, and let me preface this by saying there's been a lot of misinformation and a lot of scare tactics by people saying that if this passes in any way, that nobody can cut any trees in Eureka Springs anymore. And I'd like for the record to clear that up. That is strictly not true. If this resolution passes, my hope is that Section 1 that says that the building officials will still be able to permit tree cuts within his authority to permit. So that means, according to Section 7.56.03 of our city code, the building official would still be able to permit within his authority tree cuts. And if you'd like to check on that city ordinance and see what exactly tree cuts he would be able to permit, you're certainly welcome to do that. My main concern in this issue is that we seem to be losing a lot of trees in kind of a haphazard way. Plus, we've had ice storms that have knocked out a lot of trees, landslides that have knocked out a lot of trees. We had to sacrifice 820 trees for the new high school, and I understand, that's something we had to do in order to get this new high school. But we've lost a lot of trees in the past several years, and so I'm concerned that we need some kind of protection in place. According to information I received from the planning chairman, Eureka Springs has not denied a tree cut in 10 years. They have said that some of them needed to have trees planted to replace more or less some of the trees that have been cut. But my concern is that this whole community depends on having the beauty of trees, the natural environment, to support our tourist industry, which is, of course, our only industry. So I've brought this forward so we can talk about it. I'm not married to this. I've just brought it forward as a place to start talking about if we're even interested in protecting the trees. And if we're not, then, we might as well say right now we're not interested in protecting the trees and just let it go. But if we are interested in protecting the trees and maybe trying to do a little better job than we are right now, then I'm hoping we'll be able to talk about this and maybe come to some sort of a resolution that we can get behind and protect our trees that are so important to our natural environment and to our tourism industry. So that said, I'd like to give somebody else a chance to talk. Thank you, gentlemen.
Anybody else? Mr. DeVito?
If I'm not in favor of this moratorium, I still care about the trees in the community. This is not a either-or situation. We already have in place a comprehensive tree ordinance that's been developed over a number of years. When trees are cut, trees are planted. Trees are a renewable resource. Oftentimes, some of the trees that are cut are volunteers that have come up. They're probably not the best tree that would have been planted by a homeowner, yet they've developed to a mature status. Planting maples, oaks, trees that enhance the quality of the neighborhood is what's the result of our ordinance, whereby any trees cut or trees replaced. I've never had more emails in the 7 years that I've served on council than I have on this one issue. There has not been a single email in favor of this moratorium. I've received as many emails as half a dozen items all put together. The community expresses their wishes that they are not in favor of this moratorium. I think they understand that we do have a comprehensive tree ordinance in place. We're the oldest tree city in Arkansas, and retain that distinction year in, year out for our care and concern of the trees that we have in the community. The bedrock to the Constitution is private property rights, and when you start encroaching on people's ability to decide what they want on their own private property, that's a pretty big leap. And I would caution all the council members that this ordinance steps all over private property rights. Understand that we have a comprehensive ordinance already in place, and I, at this time, do not see any need to add to it.
Thanks, sir. Anybody else? Mr. Pano?
Well, after sitting on the Planning Board of Zoning Adjustments, I don't know of too many, excuse me, I got the same thing you got,
You have it.
tree cut permits that haven't really been valid. Matter of fact, the lady that just spoke under public comments was one of the first extensive Board of Zoning Adjustments planning reviews that I partook in, and that I really seriously considered kicking this back to Planning Board of Zoning Adjustments for their action, because I kind of feel like they got left out of the loop. But at the same time, it's on our table, and we need to act on it. And as Mr. DeVito stated, I've gotten absolutely no yes, we support the resolution, and I've gotten inputs from the Chamber of Commerce all the way through to Joe Blow, common citizen. And the only thing that I know has been brought up in past Planning Board of Zoning Adjustment meetings and reviews of the tree cut, that even to an extent of what we have now infringes a little bit on public or private landowner rights in some people's minds, and I think this would just kind of take us over the top if we push for it. And the only thing I'd recommend is we encourage the Board of Zoning Adjustments to continue looking at any requests that don't meet the billing official's authority as they have in the past.
Bill.
Thank you. I read this resolution, and in part of it, it says that the Harbin Plan was accepted by the city in 1978, which calls for the preservation of both historic structures and natural scenic beauty. I wanted to let you know that the truth of that matter is the Harbin Plan was written in 1969, adopted by Ordinance 915 in January 1970, and repealed by Ordinance 1075 in August 1979. It says in there on page 1 that its rustic natural beauty, picturesqueness, medicinal waters have remained with Eureka Springs. However, these qualities have not sufficed to sustain the community's preeminence as a resort. We can't make it on the trees alone. It also goes on to say on page 5 that Carroll County has 242,578 acres of land which is forest, and that the forest is primarily low-quality hardwood timber of low market value, but it offers great potential for charcoal production. The Harbin Plan was all about revitalization and stimulating growth. While it said we had to preserve our uniqueness and the trees, it was also a balance about economic development. And I also feel like that this resolution is just someone's idea that too many of our trees are being taken away, because we have a study from the Urban Forestry Management Plan. This one was done by Chris Fisher, certified arborist, with money from the Ice Storm Recovery Grant. It talks about in here how many trees that we have, that Eureka's canopy is estimated to be at least 50 to 60% the canopy. And this would indicate that Eureka Springs is perhaps one of the few cities that exceed the current national urban tree canopy coverage average goal of 40%. This was just done in 2010. It also goes on to say that urban forests would benefit most from a thorough thinning and reduction process. The Planning Commission in Boza takes very seriously when we look at how many trees have to be cut. Yes, there has not been one that has actually been denied in the past 10 years, but there have been a lot that have to replant. The high school has to replant. That part you don't talk about, but we are trying to get, a handle on it. We also have another study from Alfred Einer, and this was the Arkansas Forestry Commission from August 2010. It recommends lots and lots of trees being removed. All these studies say that we have too many trees, that our trees are, the canopy's too big, that the young ones don't get to grow up, safely and healthy. And as a planning commissioner, we have been talking about redoing the tree ordinance for a long time. But if we did redo it, it would say we would like to relax the rules and just be in that front part, I forget what the name of it is, and not be about people's land past the setback. And this council has a resolution to stop cutting any trees in our designation. So we didn't feel like spending a lot of time working on that to send it to this table to have it rejected was our best effort, since we do have a lot of things to work on. But the experts do say we have too many trees, not that we're losing them too fast.
Thank you, ma'am. Anybody else? Ms. Balance.
When we had the ice storm of 2009, the people from the Forestry Service that came to speak to us said that that was indeed significant loss of trees, and it would take us 50 years to recover from that loss of trees. This resolution does refer to the Harbin Plan, and I may be incorrect, but where I got the information regarding the Harbin Plan was from the Chancery Court document that handed down the decision to not allow the clear cut at the top of East Mountain Drive. So that's where I got that information. If it's incorrect, it was because perhaps the Chancery Court document was incorrect. But that is where I got that information. I'm not against, definitely not against thinning or pruning. That's certainly something that needs to be done on a regular basis. And trees under 4 inches diameter at 18 inches from the base can be removed indiscriminately, no matter what kind of tree it is. So thinning and pruning, that's something that should be going on regularly. And small trees that are in inappropriate places can certainly be removed when they're young. No problem there. I'm trying to look at prophylactic measures to protect what we have, to protect our huge, large trees, to protect from clear cuts. I would like us to consider, if we don't do anything else with this document, I would like to consider us having a moratorium on at least clear cuts for at least 5 years. I know there was a project that was coming before us not too long ago that didn't want to leave setbacks, and I know the Planning Commission was definitely considering possibly doing that. So I don't think clear cuts belong in this city at all, especially, including the setbacks and so forth. As far as tree replacement, another thing, if we don't pass this as it is, another thing I would like to consider is maybe more stringent rules about tree replacement when trees are being removed. The way it is now, tree replacement, people come with, they want a variation so they can remove a lot of trees, and sometimes they have to put in new trees and sometimes they don't. So that may be something we might want to consider as we think about this. This is not an ordinance, as my colleague referred to it. This is a resolution. So we do have a comprehensive ordinance, and this resolution takes that into consideration. Again, I say there's been people all up in arms because they think if any part of this resolution gets passed, that there will be no, zero, zilch, zip, nada tree removal for 5 years, and that is totally not the intent of this. The lovely lady who came and spoke to us about her project that she has going on, indeed, we need to consider whether that should be grandfathered. It should be grandfathered. She already has her permits, does she not? Do you know?
She said she didn't, the way I understood.
Okay, well then indeed we certainly need to look at perhaps grandfathering if this goes through in any way, because indeed she did believe she was proceeding under the belief that she would be able to carry out her project. And if she wants to take out less than 30% of the trees on that property, the building official can approve that. So we definitely would need to think about that. Like I said, misinformation has been rampant. I think a lot of people have totally missed the intent here. My intent is not to keep people from cutting any trees at all. It is to be very careful about the trees we cut, very careful about replacing in some manner the trees we cut. In my neighborhood, just within the last month, there was a huge sycamore tree. It definitely met the criteria for antique trees. And it was there one day, and it was gone the next. Apparently, one of my neighbors said that they were afraid that tree would fall on their house, and it was dead. Well, the tree was not dead, and when we measured how tall the tree had been and how far away the house was, that tree could not have fallen on that house unless it jumped up and hopped over before it fell down. So I don't know how that tree got removed, because I'm pretty sure it didn't go in front of the Planning Commission, and I would presume that the building official okayed the removal of that antique tree, which is beyond his scope of approval. So I'm glad we've had the chance to at least talk about this. I would be interested right now in maybe postponing further discussion of this until our next meeting, when we can have an opportunity to just think about it and see if there's any merit at all to any part of this. To perhaps have a moratorium on clear cuts for 5 years or 10 years or 50 years. I'd like us to think about this in an objective way and see if there's anything redeeming in this document, if there's anything we can do to protect our trees and our natural setting and our tourism industry. Thank you.
Is that a motion? To postpone?
Yes.
Just a second.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Okay. All right. Motion failed. Next on the agenda is resolution regarding extended water and sewer beyond city limits. Mr. DeVito and Mr. Raphael.
Move to discuss.
Second.
Discussion's open.
I'm assuming as per
I don't have this.
our procedure for dealing with resolutions, that we are to discuss this and then vote on it and read it.
Let me help you out.
I'll defer to Councilman Pownell.
Yes,
I move we read the resolution for discussion purposes only.
okay. I don't have this resolution.
I don't either.
Well, I probably just didn't print it, but I don't have it right now.
Well, we've all got the resolution except one council person and the mayor.
Oh, I do. I'm sorry. I just got it wrong spot. Wrong pile. My bad. Okay. Now, where were we?
So we vote to read it? Or
For discussion.
For discussion.
okay, I move to read.
Just second it. I made the motion.
Oh, you made the motion? Okay, second.
All right. Motion made, seconded to read the resolution for discussion only. Okay.
Yeah,
I think it's
second.
already been seconded, yeah.
Yeah,
Seconded.
correct.
Okay.
All right. Floor is open.
Clerk to read.
All right. Is
All
that a
in
number?
favor?
Yeah,
Okay.
oh, wait, you need a voice vote to do that.
Voice?
Yep.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Voice vote.
Voice vote. All in favor say aye. I'm sorry.
Aye.
Aye.
That's got two other things going on. Any opposed?
I'll abstain since I don't have the paperwork. Thank you. I'll look at his.
Okay. Floor is open.
You'll stick with abstention.
Yep.
So the clerk would read it at this point.
A resolution in opposition to the city water and sewer services beyond corporate city limits. Whereas the City Council of Eureka Springs, Arkansas,
Go ahead.
having concerns regarding providing water and sewer services within the current corporate limits of the City of Eureka Springs, and whereas extending city water and sewer services further beyond current corporate limits would further impair the city's ability to provide services to its citizens, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Eureka Springs, Arkansas, that the City Council of Eureka Springs does not support any action to further extend city water and sewer services outside the city corporate limits, directs the City Public Works Department to not expend any funds to further extend water and sewer services beyond city corporate limits.
Mr. Vito.
Well, my concerns are that we have a number of issues within the city that we have to deal with, hopefully sewering the